America, a vast, sprawling tapestry of highways and byways, promising adventure at every turn. But some dangers aren't marked on any sign, not with a bold black X or a stern warning. They're whispered on the wind, carried in the long shadows that stretch across the asphalt as evening falls. Imagine it. You are cruising down a two-lane highway. The sun is dipping below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of bruised purple and fiery orange, and your gaslight flickers on. A single sign appears ahead, bearing a town's name you've never seen before. A place that seems to exist only in this fleeting moment, between the nowhere you left and the somewhere you're going. We tend to think danger is loud, that it announces itself with a roar or a scream, but the real nightmares, the ones that cling to you long after you've driven away, often come from places you have never heard of. Small towns, forgotten cities, places where the American dream seems to have packed up and left without a forwarding address. In these places, silence is not a sign of peace. It is a warning. It's the sound of held breath, of stories the residents would rather not tell, of truths that are easier to ignore than to confront. It's a quiet so profound, it feels heavy. So, what do? Do you pull over, or do you push on, praying your tank has just enough to carry you through? It's a choice that could mean everything. Today, we are counting down 10 towns so volatile that "do not stop" is not just advice. It is a survival strategy. These are the places where a wrong turn can lead you into a story you never wanted to be a part of. Stick with us as we navigate the unsettling quiet of America's most dangerous towns. Our journey begins in the deep south, in a place called Bogalusa, Louisiana. The name itself, derived from the Choctaw language, means dark water, a fitting name, some might say, for a town where shadows seem to linger long after sunrise. Once, this was a proud paper mill town, a place that hummed with industry and purpose. The mill was the heart, pumping life and prosperity through the community's veins. But hearts, as we know, can break. And when the mill downsized, the lifeblood of Bogalusa slowed to a trickle. What's left is a town grappling with its own reflection. High poverty and the desperation that comes with it have settled in like the humid Louisiana air. The economic collapse didn't just take jobs. It took hope. And in the vacuum left behind, violent crime found fertile ground to grow. The statistics are stark, painting a picture of a community under siege, often from within. The sense of community that once defined Bogalusa has frayed, replaced by a pervasive, unspoken tension. It's a place where you feel eyes on you, where a friendly wave might not be so friendly. It's a feeling that intensifies as night falls. The locals, they have an unwritten rule, a piece of wisdom passed from one generation to the next: be careful where you stop for gas. After dark, those brightly lit canopies of the gas stations, usually beacons of safety on a long road, can become something else entirely. They are crossroads, not just for travelers, but for the desperate and the dangerous. The risk isn't just a possibility, it's a palpable presence. The quiet hum of the pumps does little to drown out the feeling that you are exposed, vulnerable. So if you find yourself on Highway 21, with that all-too-familiar flicker on your dashboard, the advice is simple, if unsettling. Keep going. The next town might be a few more miles down the road, but those miles could be the most important you ever drive. Because in Bogalusa, the cost of a full tank of gas could be far more than what you pay at the pump. The dark water here runs deep, and it's best not to test its currents. Driving through the vast, flat expanse of the Texas Panhandle, you'll find our number 9, Tulia. On the surface, it looks like any other small farming town. A water tower, a courthouse square, a sense of quiet pride. But beneath that placid exterior lies a wound, a deep and festering scar on the town's soul. Here, the danger isn't necessarily a figure lurking in an alleyway. No, in Tulia, the threat once wore a badge. And that's a truth that has poisoned the well of community trust for decades. It all goes back to a now infamous drug sting in 1999. A single undercover officer, a hired gun of sorts, swept through the town, his accusations leading to the arrest of nearly 15% of the town's black population. The charges were shocking. The evidence was flimsy, often non-existent. It was one man's word against a community. And for a time, his word was enough. Families were torn apart, lives were ruined, and the town was ripped in two along racial lines. Eventually, the truth came out. The cases were overturned, the accused were pardoned, and the officer was convicted of perjury. But you can't just put trust back together once it's been shattered into a million pieces. The legal system, meant to be a shield for the innocent, had been used as a weapon. The sting didn't just fail, it destroyed the very fabric of the community, leaving behind a legacy of suspicion and resentment that hangs over Tulia to this day. So when you pass through, that quiet you feel isn't peace. It's the sound of a town holding its breath. It's the silence of neighbors who no longer know if they can trust one another or the authorities meant to protect them. The danger in Tulia is more insidious than street crime. It's the ghost of injustice. It's a reminder that sometimes the most dangerous thing in a small town isn't what's illegal, but what was once terrifyingly considered law. Welcome to Stillwell, Oklahoma, a place that proudly calls itself the strawberry capital of the world. Every year they hold a festival, a celebration of that sweet, red fruit. It's an image of small-town charm, of Americana at its most wholesome. You can almost taste the strawberry shortcake. Can't you? But images, like the sweet flesh of a strawberry, can sometimes hide a rotten core. And in Stillwell, the contrast between its cheerful public face and its private reality is jarring. Beneath the veneer of festivals and farming lies a town with a violent crime rate that would be more at home in a sprawling metropolis than a rural community of fewer than 4,000 people. It's a shocking statistic, one that doesn't seem to fit the picture postcard image, but the numbers don't lie. Assault, robbery, and worse, they happen here with a frequency that defies the town's quiet appearance. It's a disconnect that leaves visitors, and even some residents, feeling deeply uneasy. Why? The reasons are complex. A tangled web of poverty, lack of opportunity, and the isolation that can breed a certain kind of desperation. It's a story played out in forgotten corners of the country, but here, it feels especially pronounced because of that strawberry capital moniker. It's as if the town is trying so hard to convince you, and perhaps itself, that it's something it's not. A happy place, a safe place. But the tension is there, just below the surface, in the way people look at an unfamiliar car, in the stories that are only told in hushed tones. There's a piece of local advice, a grim mantra for those just passing through on Highway 59. You hear it from truck drivers, from people in neighboring towns, and it's chillingly simple. Do not stop. Do not even slow down. Don't stop for gas. Don't stop for a snack. Don't stop to admire the quaint scenery. Just keep your foot on the pedal and your eyes on the road ahead. In Stillwell, the sweetest thing you can experience might just be the sight of the town in your rearview mirror. Our next stop is a city unlike any other on our list, Hamtramck, Michigan. It's a tiny enclave, just 2 square miles, completely surrounded by the city of Detroit. For over a century, it was a Polish-American stronghold, a slice of Warsaw in the Midwest. But times change. Today, Hamtramck is one of the most diverse and densely populated cities in America. A vibrant, chaotic melting pot of cultures, languages, and religions, all crammed into a very, very small space. This diversity is in many ways the city's strength. It's a place of incredible food, fascinating culture, and a truly global feel. But when you squeeze that many people, from that many different backgrounds, into such a confined area, friction is inevitable. Cultural misunderstandings can escalate. Economic pressures create tension. The very density that makes the city vibrant also means you are never truly alone. And that lack of space, that constant proximity, requires a level of situational awareness that can be, honestly, exhausting. You feel it the moment you cross the border from Detroit. The streets are narrower, the houses are closer together, the energy is different, more frantic, more intense. It's a city on edge. The crime rate, while not the absolute highest, is amplified by the claustrophobic environment. A carjacking, a robbery. It feels more personal, more invasive when it happens on a street where everyone lives practically on top of one another. There's no room to escape, no anonymity. And once again, we come back to the gas stations. In a city this dense, they are chaotic hubs of activity, 24/7. People coming and going, music blasting, arguments breaking out. For an outsider, pulling in to fuel up can feel like stepping into the middle of a play where you don't know the lines. You are an unknown variable in a complex, tightly wound social ecosystem. In Hamtramck, the danger isn't about being in an empty, desolate place, it's about being in a place that is too full, where the sheer pressure of humanity can sometimes, well, boil over. We head south again to the Arkansas Delta, to a city called Pine Bluff. It sits on the banks of the Arkansas River, a place that should be defined by the quiet majesty of the water. But in Pine Bluff, another sound has taken over, a sound that tells a story of decline, of a city that has lost its way. It's a story you can hear every evening as the sun sets and the humidity settles. It is the sound of sirens. It's been said that in Pine Bluff, sirens have replaced cicadas as the city's unofficial evening soundtrack. Once a thriving agricultural and industrial hub, Pine Bluff has been in a state of steady decline for decades. Jobs vanished, the population dwindled, and those who could leave did. What remains is a city hollowed out by poverty and haunted by crime. The empty storefronts and crumbling buildings aren't just signs of economic hardship. They are monuments to a forgotten prosperity. They stand as silent witnesses to the city's slow, painful decay. This decay has created a pervasive sense of lawlessness. The violent crime and property crime rates are among the highest in the nation, year after year. It's a reality that residents live with every day, a constant, low-grade fear that dictates where they go, what time they come home, and whether they lock their doors, even when they're inside. The social contract feels broken here. The sense of shared responsibility for one's neighbors has been eroded by desperation. For a traveler, Pine Bluff is a place to be navigated with extreme caution. Getting lost in its maze of neglected neighborhoods could put you in a desperate situation. Even the main thoroughfares can feel menacing after dark. The city's reputation precedes it, a whispered warning among truckers and travelers on I-530. The sirens aren't just noise, they are a constant, audible reminder of the city's struggles. They are the sound of a city crying for help, a cry that most people, for their own safety, choose to drive right past. Our journey now takes us to the East Coast, to a city that holds a strange paradox, Wilmington, Delaware. To many, it's the corporate capital of America, a city of gleaming glass towers and financial power, the legal home of more than half of all Fortune 500 companies. From the highway it looks prosperous, clean and safe, a bastion of wealth and success. But get off the interstate, and you'll discover that those glass walls are more than just architecture. They are dividers. Wilmington is a city starkly, cruelly divided. On one side of the glass, you have the corporate world, the lawyers and bankers who commute in and out. On the other side, in neighborhoods just a few blocks away, you have a story of profound poverty, systemic neglect, and shocking violence. It's a division so sharp, it feels like crossing into another country. The city was even dubbed Murder Town, USA by Newsweek for its astonishingly high murder rate, in neighborhoods forgotten by the corporate boom. The danger for an outsider lies in this division. You might pull off the highway looking for a hotel or a restaurant, thinking you're in the safe corporate part of town. But a single wrong turn, a missed exit, can plunge you into a completely different reality. The transition is sudden and disorienting. The gleaming towers vanish from the rearview mirror, replaced by streets where hope seems to be in short supply, and danger is a constant companion. It's this stark contrast that makes Wilmington so unsettling. The wealth and the poverty exist side by side, yet worlds apart. The city's prosperity seems to mock the struggles of its most vulnerable residents. The risk for a traveler is not just being in the wrong place at the wrong time, but in not even realizing you've crossed the invisible line until it's too late. In Wilmington, the greatest danger is the illusion of safety created by those tall glass walls. Just a short drive from the bustling metropolis of Chicago lies a city that feels like its shadow. Gary, Indiana. Once, this was the Magic City, the city of the century, forged in the fires of U.S. Steel. It was a symbol of American industrial might, a place where a job at the mill meant a good life, a home, a future. But the magic, it seems, has faded. The industry that built Gary has all but abandoned it, leaving behind a ghost of what it once was. Today, driving through much of Gary is like touring a post-apocalyptic movie set. Entire neighborhoods are filled with abandoned houses, schools and churches, their windows like vacant eyes staring out at streets slowly being reclaimed by nature. The scale of the decay is, honestly, both breathtaking and deeply sorrowful. It's a city where nearly half the buildings are estimated to be vacant or abandoned. This emptiness has created a vacuum, and into that vacuum has rushed crime and despair. The high crime rates are a direct consequence of this urban collapse. With a shrinking population and a depleted tax base, city services are stretched to the breaking point. Police response times can be slow, and vast areas of the city are effectively unpoliced. For a traveler, this presents a terrifying risk. Stopping your car for any reason can make you a target. A flat tire, a missed turn, running out of gas. These common travel mishaps can become life-threatening situations in a place where help may not be coming. The advice from those who know is stark and unanimous: do not stop in Gary, especially at night. The city's reputation is so fearsome that even the main highways that cut through it, like the Borman Expressway, can feel tense. You see the abandoned factories, the skeletal remains of a prosperous past, and you feel the weight of the city's sorrow. Gary is a tragic monument to the Rust Belt's decline, a place where the American dream has rusted away, leaving behind a dangerous and desolate landscape. Just across the Delaware River from the historic landmarks of Philadelphia lies our number 3 pick, Camden, New Jersey. For decades, its name has been synonymous with danger. It has frequently topped the lists of America's most dangerous cities, a reputation forged in decades of crime, poverty, and profound urban decay. While the city has been fighting hard to change its story, the shadow of its past is long and dark. The story of Camden is one of deindustrialization on a catastrophic scale. When the shipyards and factories closed, the city's economic heart was ripped out, tens of thousands of jobs disappeared, and the population plummeted. Those who remained were trapped in a cycle of poverty, with failing schools, crumbling infrastructure, and a near-total lack of opportunity. This created a perfect storm for crime to flourish, and for a long time, it did, with a ferocity that was, honestly, shocking. The city's reputation became a self-fulfilling prophecy. Businesses wouldn't invest, people were afraid to visit, and Camden became increasingly isolated, a pocket of intense disadvantage just a stone's throw from one of America's wealthiest cities. The Benjamin Franklin Bridge, connecting it to Philadelphia, began to feel less like a bridge and more like a barrier, separating two entirely different worlds. For travelers, the advice was simple: don't cross it unless you absolutely have to. Even today, with revitalization efforts showing some promise in specific areas like the waterfront, the perception, and in many neighborhoods, the reality of danger persists. The city is a patchwork of hope and despair. For an outsider who doesn't know the map, who can't distinguish a safe block from a dangerous one, the risk is immense. The advice to keep moving, to see Camden from the window of a car on the highway rather than its streets, is advice born from a long and troubled history that can't be erased overnight. We cross the Mississippi River from the Gateway Arch in the city of St. Louis, and we arrive in a place that feels a world away: East St. Louis, Illinois. It is a city that has become a national symbol of urban collapse. If other cities on our list are struggling, East St. Louis often feels like it has lost the fight. The level of poverty, crime, and utter lack of resources here is extreme, a stark and brutal reality just across the water from a major American city. The history is one of industrial flight, racial tension, and political corruption that left the city in ruins. Once a bustling industrial and transportation center, East St. Louis saw its tax base and its population evaporate. Today, it is one of the poorest cities in the nation. The infrastructure is crumbling, many streets are without functioning streetlights, the police force is drastically underfunded and overwhelmed. It's a city operating on the very brink of survival. The warnings about this place are not subtle, they are direct and dire. Talk to any resident of the greater St. Louis area, and they will tell you in no uncertain terms: do not go to East St. Louis, do not stop for gas, do not get a flat tire, do not get lost. The stories are legion, and they are honestly terrifying. Carjackings at stoplights, robberies at the few remaining businesses, violence that seems both random and endemic. The sense of lawlessness is not just a feeling, it's a statistical and anecdotal fact. This is not a condemnation of the people who live there, the residents who endure these conditions every day. It is a stark assessment of the environment. The danger is a product of systemic failure on a scale that is hard to comprehend. For the traveler, East St. Louis represents an unacceptable risk. It is a place where the systems you take for granted, a quick police response, safe public spaces, basic infrastructure, have all but disappeared. It is a true survival situation, and the only winning move is not to play. And so we arrive at number 1, a city whose name is known around the world, but for all the wrong reasons. Flint, Michigan, the birthplace of General Motors, the original vehicle city. A place that once embodied the power and promise of the American auto industry, but that was a long time ago. Now, Flint is known for something else entirely. It's known for a crisis that poisoned its people, and for a level of danger that makes it our most volatile town for an unsuspecting traveler. The Flint water crisis is a story of catastrophic failure at every level of government. A decision made to save money ended up poisoning the city's children with lead, a betrayal that shattered the residents' trust in the very people meant to protect them. This crisis unfolded against a backdrop of decades of economic devastation, as the auto jobs that built the city disappeared, leaving behind poverty, unemployment, and a deep sense of abandonment. This toxic combination of economic despair and public health disaster has created an environment of extreme stress and desperation. Crime rates in Flint have been stubbornly high for years, but the water crisis added a new layer of trauma and anger. The city feels wounded, and its people are justifiably angry. This creates a volatile atmosphere where tensions can run incredibly high. The social fabric, already frayed by poverty, was shredded by the feeling of being forgotten and poisoned. For a traveler, Flint is a city to be avoided. The risks are manifold. Beyond the high rates of violent crime and property crime, there is the simple, heartbreaking reality that the city is in a state of perpetual crisis. Getting stranded here, needing help from systems that have failed their own citizens, is a precarious position. The advice is blunt: fill up your tank before you get near the city limits. The danger in Flint isn't just the crime you might encounter on the street, it's the profound and tragic breakdown of a great American city. From the paper mills of Louisiana to the poisoned pipes of Michigan, our journey is complete. We've navigated 10 towns where the American dream feels like a distant memory, replaced by a harsh and often dangerous reality. These are places defined not by their welcome signs, but by the warnings to keep driving. By the time we reach number 1, you will realize that a town name can be its greatest lie. Strawberry Capital, Magic City. These names are ghosts of a past that no longer exists, masking a present that is fraught with peril for the unwary traveler. This isn't about fear-mongering, it's about awareness. It's about understanding that the map of America has places where you need to be more than just a tourist. You need to be a survivor. The stories of these towns are cautionary tales about what happens when industry leaves, when poverty takes root, and when trust is broken. They are a reminder that the open road, for all its promise of freedom, also demands our vigilance. The most important part of any road trip isn't the destination, but the safe passage through the places in between. What do you think? Are there other towns that should have been on this list? Places you've driven through that left a chill down your spine? Let us know in the comments below. And if you want more videos like this, let us know your timing suggestions for music from YouTube Studio in the comments. Your feedback helps us shape these stories. Until next time, stay aware and stay safe on the road.